Most children's shows tend to avoid discussing tough situations, which makes it rare to see your favorite characters getting sick. But did you know that Bluey, being the bold series that it is, has shown its characters getting sick on several occasions? One of the most memorable moments where this happened was when Bingo got sick and had to go to the hospital in the episode Bumpy and Barnacus. Without much explanation, the story begins with Bingo already in the hospital, and we don't get a clear reason as to why. Did she have a serious condition, catch an infection, or injure herself while playing? But let's do what every Bluey fan loves: theorize. At the start of the episode, Bingo's doctor examines her breathing, which might suggest that she was taken to the hospital due to difficulty breathing. Later, in the episode Daddy Drop Off from Season 2, we see that Bandit is packing a gluten-free lunchbox for Bingo. This leads us to conclude that Bingo most likely has a gluten allergy and may have had an allergic reaction that caused her breathing issues. Since then, the Healer family seems to be much more cautious when preparing food for her. It's pretty cool how the creators include such thoughtful details in the show, isn't it? Ready to find out all 9 sick characters who've appeared in Bluey? Let's dive in. The episode Mr. Monkey Jock starts as a simple story about Bluey and Bingo learning to let go of their old toys, but it ends with one of the most heartwarming moments in the series. That's because the toy they donate ends up in the hands of a little child in the hospital who's sick. It's another instance where the series tackles a sensitive topic in such a sweet and thoughtful way. You can't help but root for the little boy to enjoy the toy as much as Bluey and Bingo did, and perhaps one day when he grows up, he'll pass it along to another child in need. While Nana, Bandit's mom, has made several appearances in Bluey, the same can't be said for Chiles' mom. She's never appeared on the show, not even when Mort, Chiles' father, made an appearance. The only glimpses we've gotten of her are through subtle details, which confirm that Chili and Brandy inherited their looks from her. The truth is, Chili lost her mother many years ago. It likely happened in her early adult years or teenage days, since her mom doesn't even appear in flashbacks of Bluey as a baby. We don't know what caused Chili's mother's death, and it's never been explicitly mentioned. However, considering that Bingo has a gluten allergy and ended up in the hospital because of it, it's possible that this condition was inherited from her grandmother. In the past, people didn't pay much attention to health problems, so perhaps Chili's mom never sought medical advice, even after experiencing allergic reactions. Over time, she might have suffered a more severe reaction that led to her passing. It's sad to think that all Bluey characters will face loss at some point, just like we do in real life. Still, it's admirable that the creators aren't afraid to touch on such deep subjects in a children's show. Of course, many viewers won't dwell on what happened to Bluey's maternal grandmother, but the curious ones will pick up on it. If you're one of the curious ones, comment below with #Bluey. Coco couldn't escape getting sick either, as we find out she has worms in her stomach in the episode TV Shop. If you don't know what it's like to have worms, consider yourself lucky because it means you've never had to deal with it. But if you're curious, it happens when your food or water is contaminated. The worms grow inside your stomach, causing pain, nausea, weakness, and a host of other problems. This used to be quite common in children in the past when many places didn't have access to clean water, but it's still possible for kids to get worms even today. Coco likely went to the store with her mom to get medicine to get rid of the worms in her stomach, and thank goodness for that. Even before starting treatment, she was cheerful when she saw Bluey and Bingo. It's a nice way to show that getting sick is normal and not the end of the world, contrary to what some people might think. In fact, Bandit wouldn't even have noticed that his daughter's friend was sick if Bingo hadn't told him. It's also worth noting that Coco has 9 siblings. Since they all eat the same food and drink the same water, it's fair to imagine there might have been a big worm outbreak in her pink poodle family. Bluey has plenty of heartwarming episodes, like Turtle Boy, where a deaf boy named Dougie appears for the first time. We don't know if Dougie was born deaf or if he lost his hearing due to an accident. However, one of the fan theories is that his deafness might have been caused by a condition while he was still in his mother's womb or when he was a young baby. Believe it or not, there are several illnesses that can cause hearing loss. One of them is mumps, an infection that, among other things, can damage the ear to the point of causing hearing problems or, in severe cases, complete deafness. Someone with severe diabetes could also lose their hearing. If that's Dougie's case, it's a relief that he hasn't reached the point of going blind or needing to have limbs amputated. There are also several tumors that can affect the ears and cause deafness, making this another likely cause of Dougie's condition. This theory seems even more plausible because Dougie is still very young, about Bingo's age, and children are more vulnerable to diseases than adults. What do you think? Like Bingo and Dougie, Snickers might also be hiding a condition. Some fans started to suspect this after noticing that Bluey's friend doesn't go to school in the episode The Sign. Sure, kids skip school for all sorts of minor reasons, like oversleeping, but in Bluey, nothing happens without purpose. If he had missed school for something trivial, it probably would have been mentioned. But since it wasn't, there might be a deeper explanation that could be explored in the show's 4th season. It's possible that Snickers has an illness that prevents him from leaving home sometimes, which wouldn't be too far-fetched. After all, he's a dachshund, a breed that's prone to several health issues because of its unique body shape. One common issue among dachshunds is invertebral disc disease, which can cause recurring episodes of pain. In severe cases, a dachshund might even experience paralysis or become paraplegic. Poodles are also at risk of developing this condition, so Coco should be careful too. And for you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. That way you'll always get our daily videos about your favorite shows. You don't want to miss out, do you? Bandit is another character who got sick right in front of us, though it's mostly Bluey and Bingo's fault. In the episode Fancy Restaurant, Bandit and Chili join their daughter's imaginative play by pretending to be on a romantic dinner date while Bluey and Bingo run the pretend restaurant. The trouble starts when Bingo mixes together a bunch of random foods and serves a special dish to her parents. Bandit, fully committing to the game, eats it, and that turns out to be a terrible idea. As a result, he feels extremely sick and ends up vomiting in the backyard. It's hilarious, but none of us would want to be Bandit in that moment. Considering all the random stuff thrown into that meal, it's possible Bluey's dad might have ended up with a mild case of food poisoning after that. It's not just Bluey's main characters who deal with illnesses or disabilities. In the episode The Quiet Game, during a very brief scene, we can spot a little boy in a wheelchair in the background. Even background characters, who are only there to fill the scene, face their own challenges, and it would have been much easier for the creators to skip over these details. Yet they continue to care about even the smallest aspects, adding depth that only the most attentive viewers notice. It's impossible to know why the boy is in a wheelchair since he's just an extra. We can speculate. Maybe it's due to a developmental condition, or perhaps he recently had surgery and is too weak to stand. It's very common for someone to use a wheelchair after undergoing surgery. In the end though, it's likely that even the creators of Bluey didn't assign a specific backstory to him. After all, the boy in the wheelchair was included simply to make the scene feel more alive, and it worked brilliantly. Thanks to this extra attention to detail, we're now theorizing about the life of a background character. It shows that even the most minor characters in Bluey feel like they have their own lives, personal challenges, and yes, illnesses. Simply amazing. Old age is a stage of life where unfortunately we become more physically and mentally fragile. In Bluey, this reality is reflected in Grandpa Bob. Bandit's father is already quite advanced in years, and his memory definitely isn't what it used to be during his younger days. Even back then, he occasionally forgot the names of his kids, though it's unclear if that was due to memory issues or just lack of attention. Nowadays, he forgets things much more often than anyone else, which might suggest he's dealing with a condition that needs to be addressed. Let's hope it's just a vitamin B deficiency, but it's hard not to consider the possibility that Bob might be in the early stages of Alzheimer's or dementia. If Bandit's father does have one of these conditions, he's likely still in the early stages, meaning there's time to manage it. Since the show is told from Bluey and Bingo's perspective, it's possible that both Bob and Nana, along with Bluey's parents, are aware of his illness but choose not to discuss it around the kids. The video is coming to an end, but don't worry, we've left 2 amazing videos on your screen so you can keep having fun. Just click on the one that grabs your attention the most. Thanks, and see you next time.